Hey there. Thank you so much for listening to Something Super Spiritual. My name is Jeffrey Peck, and I am a psychic medium. If you are seeking conversation with loved ones on the other side, or discussion about spirituality, life after life, and anything in between, join me as we discuss all things spirit. We are collectively experiencing a spiritual awakening right now and recognizing that we are much, much more than we once believed. We don't die, and life doesn't end. We are eternal spiritual beings living in this crazy 3D virtual world of existence. Let's talk about it. Jeni Juranics, it is so good to see you again. Thank you so much for coming back to Something Super Spiritual. It's fantastic to see you again. And we were just talking last week on your podcast. So I'm so happy to see you back on mine this time. You're my second return guest.
Yay. Thanks so much. I'm really pumped. It's always so much fun talking to you. We just have so much in common and it flows and I love it. So
our
thank you.
journeys are very parallel.
Yeah.
And the way we work is very similar.
Mhm.
And it just, we just click. We click.
Yeah.
You have had a lot going on over the last year. You have grown so much over this last year. And that's why we have you back, because we want to talk a lot more of your journey and the spiritual growth that you've had and what you've been doing and how we can partake in that for ourselves as well. So for those of you that haven't met Jeni yet, Jeni is an amazing psychic medium in Canada. Toronto? Close to Toronto?
2.5 hours east of Toronto. I'm in the country.
Yeah. Okay. So that side of Canada anyway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So Jeni does one-on-ones. She does amazing events. I love to watch the clips of your events, by the way. The way that you...
Thank you.
The way that you work is so genuine and sincere and so down to earth. So down to earth. And I love that. And you walk around barefoot. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, I used to try to wear shoes, but it wasn't working out. So why? I just bought a rug and now it doesn't matter where I am. If I have my rug, I'm good.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about what's been happening with you and your growth and your spiritual nudges, that your spiritual team has been, poke, and what's been going on?
Well, it's been an interesting last few years. I think a lot of us have had a lot of our own spiritual growth. A lot of people have been waking up over the last few years with everything that's been going on. Sure. And for me, it was kind of an up leveling. I guess that's how you could call it. I was actually in a really dark place. I was not myself, or I could say discovering more of the parts of myself that were lost or locked up or pushed to the side. And I started to have a lot of anxiety, depression, rightly so with everything that was going on, but it felt like bigger than just what's happening in the world. And I think a lot of people are having spiritual awakenings right now, or deepening spiritual awakenings. Completely. So for me, I started to use Kundalini Yoga to heal myself, to expand my awareness of myself, to release traumas and things that were trapped in my body, which then in turn, unexpectedly, pushed me into the awareness that I've had all along that I was ignoring, that part of my path in this life is to be a teacher. And so it's really brought me to sort of a full circle type of feeling where, through the work that I do with helping people to heal and connect, connecting to spirit, connecting to their higher self, I've learned that there's a much bigger, important piece that's been missing. And a lot of that is to do with the body. So, working with the yoga has helped sort of connect all of that together. Okay. And I'm really pumped. I'm really pumped about the future of my work with this, because it's been powerful so far.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And you're absolutely right. I mean, there is something to be said about that balance in alignment when we are working spiritually, or any of us actually, doesn't even matter what we're doing, me and you doing what we do, but spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, having all of that, we have to work on all of that, it all has to be in alignment, what eating well, exercising,
Mhm.
mentally, therapy helps, and emotionally, obviously. And then the spiritual work with meditation and I love the way that yoga blends all of that together
Mhm.
into
Mhm.
one beautiful exercise. So,
Yeah.
okay, so talk about then how did the Kundalini yoga, like how did that door open for you when you were feeling this nudge and you're feeling this something was about to shift? How did that present itself?
Well, I've been practicing Kundalini yoga on and off for about 7 years.
Okay,
The
okay,
first time that I took a class was actually through a DVD that I bought off Amazon.
okay,
And we were at the time we were renovating our like main level, the kitchen, the living room. It was really stressful. I had little kids and I was losing my mind. And I've been doing yoga for 20 years, it's
okay.
not new to me, but when I purchased that video, I don't know why. I really don't know what led me to do that. It just seemed like, that looks interesting. And, I think it was just a 45-minute video. And at the end of it, I could not believe the energetic shift in my body. It wasn't like any other form of yoga that I'd ever done before. And I just felt so much more connected to my soul, to, my chakras, to the energy around me. And I just remember feeling like I was floating.
Wow.
But oddly, I didn't, start a regular practice at that point at all. It was very in and out because I was discovering my mediumship
Yep.
and, there was a lot going on in my life and young kids and all of that. So
Mhm.
it came and went over the last 7 years. Over the last 2, I can't even really remember, 2, 3 years is when I've really started to commit to a deeper practice. And it was really out of, if I didn't, I don't think I would be here on this planet anymore. And this isn't something that I often share, I don't share this on my social media a whole
Sure.
lot. It's very personal and it's, I'm sure you can experience when you're a healer or a light worker or whatever you want to call yourself and you're helping others, you
Yep.
make it about them,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But we have our own struggles. We have
Yes.
our own things going on that bring us to want to help other people. Because for me, if anytime that I'm not of service and giving, that's when I know something's wrong in my life.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
we just have this need, right?
Yeah.
Something's going on with me, and what makes me feel better is to help others, and that helps me. But
Yes.
there was a time period in there where so much of what I had stuffed down in my body, traumas from my childhood were coming up, just things that I had pushed away.
Sure.
And so again, I don't remember how. It's almost as if it just happened that I found myself in front of my computer again. Much of what I've done has been online, thank goodness
Hmm.
for the
Hmm.
online world. I can't I can't tell you what put me there. I think that it's just part of, I mean, for one, desperation, but there is a bigger picture. And I find that many people, when they take this Kundalini yoga path, there's a sense of destiny, there's a sense of purpose, there's a sense of being connected to something ancient, to something from lifetimes ago that perhaps you've done before. And so it's kind of like that for me.
Okay, that's really
Sorry.
awesome. Yeah,
Long
no,
story.
that's beautiful though. I mean, it's really beautiful. So this all like blossomed for you during the COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. Already working as a medium, being burnt out. I guess that's the
Sure.
main burnout,
Hmm.
trauma, just not myself, but not knowing who I was anymore,
Yeah.
kind of like an ego death happening. And the yoga saved my life. Yeah.
Awesome. Beautiful. So, okay. So with regard to the Kundalini yoga, for those who are listening who might not have heard of that part,
Mhm.
that version of yoga, I guess.
Mhm.
What does that mean? What is Kundalini? What does that mean?
Well, so Kundalini is basically like your essence, your energy. And for many of us, it is sort of lying dormant. And so, it's visualized as a coiled snake at the base of the spine.
Okay.
And I'm sure you know about the chakras. Am I frozen?
Huh? Hold on, hold on.
Did I freeze?
Yeah,
You were
yeah. You
frozen.
sounded like
Sorry.
a robot and it started to go slow motion. I think we're good now. Okay. Okay.
As
Okay.
soon as we
So
talk about Kundalini, weird
I
stuff
know
happens.
it's so funny. Okay. So Kundalini yoga.
So, coiled snake at the base of the spine. This is
Got it.
what we generally picture. And through doing through doing Kundalini yoga, you can awaken this energy. It can then spiral up through the energy centers and sort of flower out into your energy field. And then your essence, so to speak, this is the way I see it, is unlocked, released, and you become more you and who you came to be in this lifetime. So, a typical Kundalini yoga class has 4 parts. There's the postures, like we see in, sort of mainstream yoga when you go to the yoga studio.
Yep.
But on top of that, what makes Kundalini yoga a bit different is we have mantra, so chanting. Then we have meditation, and we have breath work. So each class has those 4 parts, ideally. And so it feels like a complete system.
Sure.
That's the point of it, to hit all the points so
Hmm,
that you have the maximum experience.
That's really
Mhm.
beautiful.
Mhm.
I have the experience I have with yoga is Bikram in the hot room.
Okay.
And, breathing obviously was a big piece of that. We didn't chant anything. And meditation, I think we might have sat silent at the very end for a couple minutes, maybe. But I love this. So I like the how all of this is put together is it an hour class? Is that what it works?
Typically an hour and a half. It's
Okay.
usually
Okay.
about an hour and a half with a little bit of gong at the end,
Awesome.
like included in that hour and a half. I mean, you can do whatever you want.
Hmm.
You can do 10 minutes, like anything is better than nothing. But if you were going to go to a class, generally hour and a half, at least 10 minutes of gong, so sound therapy
Yep.
at
Oh,
the
I
end.
love sound therapy. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a bit more of a time commitment if you're going to a class, but like I said, even just finding 3 minutes in your day to do a little bit of each of these things
Hmm.
is life-changing. It really
Super
is.
helpful. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you have a studio near you where you go to teach,
Oh,
or do you teach online?
I have only been teaching for special events because I've just gotten started in winter solstice was my first class.
Okay.
So in Kundalini Yoga, the solstices and equinoxes are very important times of the year to practice. Of
Sure.
course, practicing every day, but during those times, the energetic shifts, the shifts to the planets and the electromagnetic field of the earth and
Mhm.
our own bodies, it's like a super amped up time to practice.
Well, it's all
So right
connected.
now I'm focusing on those. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You maximize what's happening, right?
Yeah.
That's what's
Yeah.
really cool about this yoga it's a very advanced, sophisticated system that includes astrology. It includes it's the body is seen as the human being is seen as having 10 bodies and 8 chakras in this system. And so it's really about like pointing your compass in a direction through the yoga to create the experience you want to have. Anyway, to answer your question, I've been doing these special events based on those energies. I'm desperately searching for a place to hold regular classes, but I'm trying to build a building on my property. That's a long, slow process
Oh yeah,
at
yeah,
the
yeah.
moment.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really beautiful though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so how does yoga incorporate astrology? Like how does uh, yeah, where does that play in?
So in Kundalini Yoga, like I said, we were very interested in planetary alignments, any shifts that are happening out there. There's a lot of meditations that focus on, certain fingers are connected to certain planets. So there's mudras as well
Mudras,
that
yep.
we're using. It's sort of like, how there's so much talk around Mercury retrograde and how
Yes.
it's just it's this thing that Mercury's doing and we just have to be victims to it, right?
Yes.
With Kundalini Yoga, it's sort of like, okay, well, here are the planets in my placement. And this isn't anything you have to know when you're doing a class. It's all
Mhm.
just sort of happening behind the scenes, by the way. So not to intimidate anybody, you don't have to know any of this stuff, but you can sort of have them work in your favor. You can do certain, meditations and mudras to sort of change your angle within what's happening in astrology. So, I mean, this could take hours and hours to pick apart and talk about, and I
Sure.
certainly don't know everything there is to know about it, but that's what I find super fascinating. And then of course it connects to numerology as well. So,
Numerology, yes.
yeah.
Okay.
So, are you ready? Are
I'm
you
I'm
ready?
almost ready. I'm almost ready.
Oh, you're
So
almost ready.
yeah,
Okay.
you had mentioned mudras, and I know that they are positions that we do our fingers, places. How can you explain what this does energetically? What do the placements mean for us, and what do they do for us?
So, it's sort of like pressing keys on a piano. That's sort of how I see it. That when we are making contact with certain fingers, we are making contact with those planets and that energy within ourselves. So I always love this one, and I taught you this last time, that when we
Yes.
press down on our pinky finger, it helps us to communicate. That's a communication mudra. So, just having these little tips and tricks, it helps us to, like I said, work with energies in our favor. Yeah.
So that's interesting. Mercury is the planet of communication. So is Mercury related to this mudra? Is that
I think that is the Mercury finger. There's so many pieces and so many different little bits and pieces to remember with this. But yes.
I love
So
that.
it's Saturn, Jupiter, Sun, and Mercury. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Okay. So, okay. So during this process, as you were learning, and I'm sure all the hours that you put into learning to teach, how did the numerology piece come into this? Is it naturally part of the system, or did it start to hit you and you started to recognize the blending?
It is part of the system. So
Okay.
in the Kundalini tradition, the human being, like I said, is recognized as having 10 bodies. So that 10 body system also correlates to numerology. So you can, calculate your numerology, and then the 10 body system can be applied, and it just adds a much deeper layer, I think, than other forms of numerology, where you can see, okay, well, I have this number in a certain place, and how does that relate to my chakras, to one of the 10 bodies, and what then does that mean, right? So of course, I'm always connecting everything to the tarot, because I've been reading tarot for 8 years now.
Yeah.
And that's always kind of like, my mediumship, my psychic readings, and my tarot. And then everything always seems to somehow be reflected in those three things, right?
Hmm.
So then, of course, you can take the numerology, tarot, and Kundalini yoga together. And it just, for me, it was just a very exciting feeling of everything all connecting. And again, that sense of I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So
Yeah.
it's really cool. It's really cool stuff.
That's one thing that's one of the reasons why I love the tarot so much, because it does incorporate all of that. The astrology, the
Mhm.
numerology, you've got the archetypes of the planets in the cards, you've got the
Yeah.
archetypes of the numerical energies in the cards, and putting that all together and it forms this story. Yeah, it's really really cool. So okay, so talk about the numerology then, and as it relates to the Kundalini, the 10 bodies. I'm wondering, do you like energetic layers, you mean?
So we have let I'm not trying to give too much information, but the 10 body system. So the first body is the soul body.
Okay,
We have the negative mind, the positive mind, and the neutral mind.
got it.
So that's 4. And then the 5th body is the physical body. The 6th body is the arc-line. So that's sort of like the halo that you see on certain figures.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other ones are pretty self-explanatory, right? But the arc line holds sort of like your karmic patterns of your ancestors, things that were sort of impressed upon your energy that aren't necessarily from this lifetime.
Okay.
And you can see somebody's arc line when, let's say you're walking down the street and you see someone and they look like they have a cloud over their head, and you could go, oh, that person's got a lot on their mind. They have a lot happening in their life right now. You can see it. And that's kind of what is, in this area from earlobe to earlobe.
Okay.
So that's the arc line. The 7th body is the aura. So that's the kind of the sum of all of your chakras and where they're at,
Yep.
including, yeah, the 8th chakra. And then, so that's 7. The 8th body is the pranic body.
Okay.
So it's the life force energy that we pull in that is available to us everywhere, but sort of stored in this pranic body.
Okay.
The 9th body is the subtle body. So that is the kind of like where that's a harder one for me to explain, but it's where your, not experiences, it's your spiritual attainment, the work you've done, the experiences you've had. I want to use the word experiences, is
Okay.
also sort of stored there. And it's also the body that if you were to kind of like go for a journey in a meditation, when you are like, oh, I'm at my childhood house, that's your subtle body
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
going into that space. So
Yep.
that's kind of easier for anyone who meditates to understand that.
Sure. Yep.
And your radiant body is like the energy that is all around you that you project out into the world. So it's what people see. It's how you project and enter into the world with your radiant body. And it's so that's the 10 bodies. And then of course, in the numerology that is connected to this system, we keep the number 11. A lot of other systems reduce down to get rid of 11.
Yes. So
We
that'd be
keep
number
it.
2.
Yeah. So we keep it, and that is sound current, and it's sort of the energy of all that
Okay.
is. Yeah.
This is very interesting. I'm learning something
Mhm.
new today. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So is this something that you facilitate with somebody before they join you in the Kundalini
No,
class? Or, okay,
not at all.
is this something
No,
that you talk about during poses? All of these different
not
bodies
at
and what?
all.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, it in Kundalini Yoga, generally, the teacher shuts their mouth. You
Oh,
allow people to have their own experience, and everyone's experience is going to be different. And what I really love about Kundalini Yoga is there's not a lot of, you should be feeling this, you should be feeling it here. And, there It's a closed eyes practice as well. So when you're practicing, for the most part, unless otherwise specified, you have your eyes closed.
Oh,
And so it is a very meditative inward, in your body, but spiritually connected experience.
sure.
And so it's not really the teacher's job to be trying to direct, unless that's part of the meditation, right? Unless that's
Mhm,
part of the goal.
mhm.
So no, this stuff is sort of like a bonus that if you wanted to go deeper, if you wanted to, have a better self-awareness, then we would pull out the numerology in
Sure.
a different space. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'm sure everybody's wondering. I'm wondering, with me as an example, I know I gave you my birth date, my information.
Yep.
What does this mean for us listening? But obviously, particularly me, because you have my birthday. But yeah, so let's show everybody what this means.
Okay. So the way that I work with the numerology and the tarot is very kind of go with the flow, right? For you, I've calculated all of your numbers so that we didn't have to do this on the spot. And
Mhm.
it gives me a kind of a full picture of you. But if someone was coming for a reading, we would just go with the flow. If this problem was coming up or they had a question about this, usually I start to go, I think you have a lot of fives in your I can just
Mhm.
feel it.
Mhm.
And for you, I really love your chart. I love the way that, it kind of helps me to know you a little bit better. And I'm
Mhm.
hoping that you will confirm that some of these things are true.
Okay, I will.
So so you are a soul of 3. I don't know if you have, like, delved into this before or not, but what this means is that so in the 10 body system, if we start there, that's your positive mind. So somebody who it's not your path number, but it's like who you are in this lifetime is a very positive person. And
It's true.
I don't know you super well. We've known each other for a while, but one thing I do know about you is you're somebody who randomly sends positive, encouraging texts and messages
Yes.
out of the blue for no reason other than because you're spreading positivity. And so I just love that about you. And when I calculated this, I was like, well, duh, he's a soul of 3, of course, right? So that right there, just knowing that a 3 connects to the positive mind, like that just brings I don't know, to me, that's a really great layer. This also means that you are like a natural leader. You do well having your own business. You're somebody who, yeah, it's that sort of leadership of like positively helping other people to find solutions for themselves and influencing people in a positive direction. So regardless of what you're doing, you're putting that on everything just because that's who you are,
Yeah.
right? You're not
Yeah.
trying to.
Yeah.
When we relate this to the tarot, right? Then in the major arcana, we see that that's the Empress card.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
So this is your soul, right? You are an Empress soul.
Mhm.
And then of course there's the minor arcana cards. This could take us hours to dig into, but
Oh, sure.
it's like I love the Empress. And
Mhm.
you have that just loving, compassionate, nurturing vibe.
Yeah.
So isn't that cool, right?
It,
How
it
you
really
can
is. Yeah.
it's layer after layer. Your gift in this lifetime is a 7. So that is your aura. And that means that, your energy, when you bring it to the people close to you, you just have a way of elevating the situation. So not only are you a naturally positive person, but you bring a sense of elevation to any situation that needs to be kind of lightened up a little bit. So your gift is something that you just have in this lifetime. You will always be able to fall back on that and use it. Sometimes people need to know what their gift is in order to use it. I think you know what your gift is.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure you're
Thank
doing
you.
it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So very empathic, very, again, compassionate, but elevating. Your path, you're a path of 10. So this is the radiant body. And I think that for you, because your path of 10 and your projection of 10, so you have two 10s in your chart. One is the direction you're supposed to go, right? The path you're supposed to take, which is a 10. But your projection number is how people see you. And they also see you as a 10. So that's really cool because it shows that kind of where you're trying to go in life and what the direction you're trying to take. The world is seeing you as someone who should be going in that direction.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a discrepancy, right? Between like
Sure.
what people see of you and what you really mean. For you, people see you as this big personality, this bright shining light in the room that you just, you're just sparkly. you just
Aw.
have a way of bringing this sparkly energy to whatever it is you do. And for you, it's sort of like, when that's your path, you can kind of do anything, really, right?
Yep.
As long as you're in the spotlight. So your job is to be in the spotlight in some way, in some meaningful work that you're doing.
Mhm.
And so that might be an area where you can push yourself, right? To just continually do that. And you're doing that.
Mhm.
But it's not always easy
No.
to take that path.
No, it's not.
Right?
It's additional validation. I have heard that for the last 20 years
Okay.
from almost every psychic, every astrologist,
Yeah.
it's interesting and it's scary. So when you say it's not easy, the hardest part for me is me,
Yeah.
being able to hold this space and just roll with it,
Yeah, it's about coming out of hiding.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
for you,
totally.
a lot of your path
Totally.
is like, how can I be seen? How do I come out? How do I show up?
Yeah.
Just authentically as you, and not caring what people think, and trusting that, you have other numbers here as well, but even just simply, your soul number, like coming out of hiding with this positive essence that you are, that right there is life-changing for the people that you meet. You're that rubs off on people.
Awesome. Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about some of your karma and challenge in this lifetime, because this kind of is bringing us to that
Yep.
even your path number that is generally, it is what it is, but you have to take the path, right? For
Yep.
me, it was hard to accept my path of being a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, it's that challenge. Your karma number in this lifetime is 8. And so that means your pranic body. So that's like your life force energy. And the karma number is sort of like your task, your homework in this lifetime, the thing that's hard.
Yep.
So you might have people close to you tell you that you're a workaholic. Is that
In the
true?
past, in the past, totally. Yep.
Okay. And so, it sounds like you have taken some of the homework and worked at it, right? Because if
Yes.
that's in the past, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's also, karma of 8 tends to be somebody who you can have periods of tons of energy, go, 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 making things happen, but there's also burnout that can come. And right. So for you, this being your karma number, it's really important for you to have a balanced self-care
Yes, that's
routine.
very true. Yes.
You have to know your limits.
Mhm.
Whereas other people could have seemingly endless amounts of energy, or
Oh,
they're not,
yes.
and you're comparing yourself to them thinking,
Yes.
why am I so tired? How come I can't handle that? Whatever it is.
Yep.
When we compare ourselves, that's where we go wrong, for one. But
Totally.
somebody who doesn't have that same number as you is operating differently. So it's important to, keep the workaholic tendencies in check, self-care, you have to replenish your life force energy on a regular basis.
Yes.
And the best way to do that is through breath work, because when we breathe in, which is part of the yoga, right? The pranayama
Yep.
is to take in the life force energy, and you store that in your body for when you need it.
Yes.
But many of us are just so depleted because we don't breathe, we don't get outside and get the fresh air, we don't eat the vegetables, whatever it is, right?
True.
Those are all places you can get more prana. So for you, prana, life force energy, chi, okay? And then what's interesting is your experience number is also an 8. So you have 2 8s, your karma, but your experience number is an 8. And that means you've spent many lifetimes working on what we just talked about.
This.
Yeah. But it's also the number of a healer. So not only have you been a healer in many lifetimes, your part of your challenge and homework in this lifetime is stepping further into being a healer. So, there's that sort of coming out of hiding energy, showing up as the healer, that many of us have that story, but for you, there's an added level of that. I don't have that story. We all have that sort of past life. I was a healer, had to, persecuted, whatever.
Right.
But you have a double kind of layer of that in this lifetime. So it might be a little bit more challenging for you than others, but
that makes sense. Yeah. Yep.
And one last number, your challenge number. So you got your karma number of 8, which is like your homework in this lifetime. And your challenge number is like, if you want to level up and have an extra challenge, you can do this as well. And it's 11.
11.
So for you, that 11 is the sound. It's your voice. It's
oh my
speaking.
goodness.
So
that's what I'm doing.
Having a podcast, just showing up.
Wow, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I mean, not surprising, but wow. Okay, continue.
That's really it. It's the 11 is, I see, when we relate the 11 to the tarot, that's the Justice card. And so, usually that card is connected to like the legal system and fairness and balance and justice, right?
Yeah.
But for you, because it's your challenge number, I see this as like, this is my turn. It's my turn. It's my voice. I'm using my voice. This is my platform. This is my, this is how I'm doing it. And I'm taking the challenge to speak up and use my voice. And if they can have a podcast, so can I. Like there's that kind of energy with it, that like, it's about me. I want what's fair, and not in a selfish way, in a way that like you deserve it. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to, to share your voice. And we want that, by the way. we love that you do that.
Thank you.
But it's, these things are not always easy. But Jeffrey, I just want to say, like, you're totally living and navigating your numerology perfectly at this stage in your life. And the only thing left to do is just to continue to spread that positivity, continue to show up in more public spaces, continue to be on the stage, to show up in person, to show up and be your sparkly, vibrant, healing, elevating self. And so, how's your platform mediumship stuff working out?
It's coming. Oh my gosh, it's so funny that you'd ask me about that. I was thinking about that this morning before, I had any idea where this conversation was going to go.
Yeah.
And I got it. That's the scariest. That's where I am at my like, public speaking for me has been one of my greatest fears. So doing what I'm doing right now is big in its movement, and I'm proud of myself, and I'm making some great strides. But there's the safety of being right here in my own little cocoon, And then, so public speaking being that big for me, but then public speaking and putting in the spiritual connection, which, I know based on my history and the validation and even my own experience doing the platform work so far on Zoom.
Yeah.
It's so there.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm getting to that point right now where I'm starting to feel that fire of excitement in my belly instead of that fire, that burn of fear. There's a difference. There's the fire of excitement and there's the burn of fear. And for the last 2 years, it's been that burn of fear. And now I'm starting to feel and I'm starting to like, I can feel my energy start to expand. And I mean, it just gives me chilly bumps talking about it. So yes,
Me
that's
too.
coming very closely. I
Awesome.
can't wait to do that with you one day. I know we talked about
Yeah,
it a couple weeks
it's gonna
ago, and
happen.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like, and that's the thing with me too. Like, as scary as it might be for right now, I feel like I can do anything with somebody together. I feel like I can do
Yeah.
anything if we're doing it
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
And that's like, I want to be that for people, and I like to have that at my fingertips as well. Hold my hand,
Yeah.
and then I got your hand. Come with me. Come on, we're going.
Yes. Yes. We certainly
Yeah,
need more of that on the planet in general and in this work,
yeah.
working together. But, that's a safe place to start.
Mhm.
But your path is to be in the spotlight, for it to be just you on the stage.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
think about it. Just
Oh
think
no,
about it.
yeah, here's the thing. I told Spirit, listen, do with me what you will. If that's what I got to do and that's where I need to work toward and move through my own challenges and fears and self-worth, and I mean all that trauma, right? Childhood trauma, maybe lifetimes of trauma that I'm working through, like you said earlier.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's do it. We're here. I heard somebody, I think it was Suzanne Wilson. She was talking about being here and being here. Our soul brought us here in this lifetime for particular reasons, particular challenges, and to move through and to rise up and show up. And she says, what do you have to lose but bringing your A game? I mean, what do you have to lose? And
Yeah.
she's so right. I think about that often, and it's
Mhm.
just one of those. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's you're on the right track, right?
Mhm.
You've identified the things, you know that it's an area to enter into in the future.
Mhm.
And I just want to say, I'm thinking about this now. Your card, so you are having a 9-year right now. I don't know if you've done
Yes.
any of this. Yeah. So that's the Hermit. Oh, I just had crazy thunder here. The Hermit is this is you. So
Yeah.
you're kind of, this is like a year for you to really just be following your own light, just going where you're guided. You're really, it's an inward year, right?
Yep.
To be discovering more parts of yourself. But next year is your 10-year, which is the Wheel of Fortune. So I wouldn't be surprised if 2024 is a big year for you and your platform mediumship,
Yeah.
because that's a 10 and you're a path of 10 in life, and you're going to be having a 10, like there's a lot of synchronicity in that, and
Totally.
things aligning. And the Wheel of Fortune is about your destiny. It's like it's a turning point in your life.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Makes total sense. And that
yeah.
feels, that time wise, that feels right. With
Hmm.
the work that I'm doing, putting myself out there, being on the YouTube, being on the YouTube lives with other
Yes,
colleagues on their shows and platforms, and whatnot. So yeah, I
absolutely.
absolutely feel that too. Yeah. Oh my gosh,
Hmm.
you guys. So you're listening to this. I want you to reach out to Jeni and have her walk you through your own path and journey and your 10 bodies. I mean, it really is so validating. It is so validating. And if
Mm.
it's not anything you've done before, it will open your eyes to new perspectives of you. And that
Yeah.
is strength. Ooh, was that thunder?
Yeah.
That's so, I love thunderstorms so much.
Crazy thunder happening here right now. It's been a
Yeah.
thunderstorm all day.
Wow.
Still
Oh,
hear me?
yep. Oh, there we are. Yep. There we are.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, for all of you listening, this is really, really unique. I love this. I've studied numerology for 15, 16, 17 years. And this is a new spin on it that I is so meaningful and synchronistic and really validating with the things that
Mm.
I've been moving through and moving forward with and into. So
Yeah, I love that. And what's really cool about it is you can have prescribed, back to the Kundalini Yoga, you can have sort of there's like prescriptions based on your numerology. This is the meditation for you. This is a mantra for you. It's different for everyone based on the numbers,
sure.
but you can even take it a step further. So it's very, I find it to be very simple, but very deep and very validating, but also I love practical systems,
Yes.
where there's advice, where there's like, okay, so what if I'm a path of 10, but what is that, what do I do with that information?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I find is cool about combining it with the tarot too, right? Like there's, okay, here are some things to do.
Yeah.
So yeah. Thanks, Jeffrey. I love knowing your numbers. It's something that I'm always like, I just wish I could ask their birthday. But I absolutely love the opportunity to read for people and yeah, thank
I
you.
love it. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Tell people where they can find you to get their own readings with you.
Well, as you have probably experienced with all of the scam accounts and everything
Oh,
happening on social media, the only way to book with me is through my website. Do not respond to any messages on Instagram or anything.
truth.
Book with me through my website, jenijuranics.com. That's the only place. And then of course I am on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all the places
Yeah.
as psychic medium Jeni Juranics.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll have the links all put in the show notes so you guys will have access to that wherever you're seeing this on whichever platform, Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. It'll all be there for you. So, Jeni, do you have one last piece of wise words that you'd like to share with the listeners as we part ways?
Well, the first thing that's coming to my mind is to talk about how we are having a 7-year in 2023. The numerology breaks down to 7. So many people on the planet right now are really searching for direction in their life. They're looking for, which path am I supposed to take in my life? It's a time where we're really questioning, the path ahead.
Yeah.
And so it's also a year where many people are going to be needing a deeper spiritual practice of some kind.
Yeah.
So spirituality, yoga, meditation, all of these things are much more important this year than they have been in past years.
Yeah.
And
Uh-oh. Oh, and cliffhanger. Oh, all right, everybody. I think the thunderstorm at Jeni's place has taken us out. So, Jeni, thank you so much for being here. You are beautiful and amazing. And I can't wait to hear from people who experience your leadership, your teaching, your readings. She's an amazing medium, you guys, amazing astrologer, numerology, tarot reader. Oh my gosh. She's the full package. So there she goes. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much for being here with us again this week. I've got a great lineup of really amazing names for you guys coming up in the next month or so. And they're starting to fall on the calendar. We're just trying to pick some hours now. So I'm teasing out these names. So be ready. All right, you guys, enjoy yourself this week. Be well. And I'll talk to you next week. Thank you again for listening to the Something Super Spiritual podcast. If you know someone who would enjoy this episode, please do share it with a friend. For show notes, links, and to purchase a mediumship reading, my website is somethingsuperspiritual.com. You can also easily subscribe and follow the show on your favorite app, sign up for my newsletter for bonus content, and to keep the conversation going, you can easily join the Facebook community. It's all right there at the website, somethingsuperspiritual.com. Signing off for now, namaste.